Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If you enjoy long-form breakdowns told with care, clarity, and context, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive. Today we're tracing the timeline behind a sentence that ricocheted through fan pages and entertainment sites. After months, some would say years, of keeping speculation at arm's length, Yaman signaled that he and Demet no longer planned to hide what so many already felt was true. What changed, why now, and what does no more hiding actually mean in practice? Let's walk the arc from rumors to resolve, separating signal from noise the whole way. To understand the temperature of this moment, you have to remember how it started. When Erkenci Kus first aired, it didn't just deliver a charming story, it taught an audience how to read a new rhythm. Demet and Yaman built scenes out of micro-choices. Half-smiles that landed like punchlines, glances that arrived a beat early and carried the weight of unspoken lines. Edits and subtitled clips traveled far beyond Turkey, setting off a wave of international attention that never entirely receded. With that scale, the public imagination did what it always does with an unforgettable pairing. It tried to carry the chemistry off screen and into everyday life. Both actors responded to that pressure with a disciplined steadiness. They focused on work. They kept captions brief. In interviews, they were generous about craft and careful about boundaries. Fans read the restraint in opposite ways. Some saw coy marketing, others recognized survival tactics in an industry that can turn a personal moment into a permanent headline. The truth, as usual, sat in the middle. There was real care in protecting something that felt fragile, and there was a clear understanding that rumors grow strongest when they are fed. For a long while, silence was the most respectful answer. Then a season arrived when schedules aligned and cameras seemed to find them more often, and the conversation shifted. The tone of their public presence changed, not into spectacle, but into ease. A shared frame wasn't treated as a drop, it was treated as normal. In the background, the language they used in separate interviews began to rhyme: trust, peace, balance, home. None of this was a declaration. All of it felt like preparation. That is why a single line, Yaman suggesting the era of secrecy had run its course, landed with such force. It confirmed what attentive viewers already sensed: clarity had replaced caution. What does no more hiding mean? It does not mean live-streaming private milestones or converting daily life into content. It usually means three simpler things. First, stop dodging the obvious. If they attend the same event, they attend; if they are seen together, they are seen. Second, choose a tone and defend it. Share enough to keep speculation from writing the story, never so much that the story swallows the people living it. Third, let the work stay in front. Visibility can be honest without becoming a performance. When a couple chooses that path, the reward is sanity, and a public that slowly learns to calibrate its curiosity. The first wave of reaction was pure celebration. Timelines filled with congratulations written in multiple languages, old scenes resurfaced as a way to honor the new chapter, and edits blended past and present in a way that felt more like gratitude than possession. The second wave was protective. Longtime fans asked fellow viewers to treat openness as a privilege, not a pass. They reminded everyone that visibility is not an invitation to interrogate, that happiness does not need a daily affidavit, and that even a public love deserves private oxygen. The third wave was practical. Would joint red carpets become more common? Would brand campaigns attempt to monetize a very real connection? Would interviews now lead with personal questions? Those are fair questions. The answer, wisely, will depend on context rather than a rule. From an industry perspective, this shift changes the marketing math overnight. When two globally recognized names move from implied to acknowledged, the room where campaigns are planned starts to think in pairs: dual cover stories, carefully timed teasers, coordinated appearances that protect tone rather than chase clicks. The risk, of course, is overexposure. Audiences can grow numb when intimacy gets packaged too tightly. The antidote is selectivity. One carefully chosen photo shoot can buy months of peace. One thoughtful joint interview about craft can redirect the narrative away from gossip without scolding the audience that cares. There is a cultural layer to this story, too. For years, some fans treated secrecy as an affront, as if privacy existed to deprive the public of what it deserved. The new tone, Kenyaman suggesting the hiding is done, reframes the dynamic. It asks for reciprocity. If the couple is willing to stop ducking the obvious, the audience must be willing to stop demanding what is not offered. That means resisting the urge to turn a ring into a referendum, a caption into a coded message, or an absence into a conspiracy. It means celebrating with the same grace with which the news is given. None of this would matter if the foundation weren't strong. The reason this reveal resonates is that it feels earned. It arrives after years of choosing steadiness over spectacle. It arrives after separate projects that proved each could stand tall without leaning on the pairing that made them famous together. It arrives after they learned, and taught, the discipline of saying less while delivering more. If the chapter ahead feels promising, it's because the ones behind it were built with care. What changes now, day to day? Expect small, human adjustments. A willingness to stand a little closer when cameras flash. A caption that acknowledges the we were once there was only I. A quiet appearance at a family event where the most important audience is a room of relatives, not a wall of lenses. Perhaps, when timing feels right, a single photo that says thank you for the years of support, here's how we'll be sharing from now on. Crucially, there will also be choices not to share, and those choices will be as intentional as the ones that let a moment breathe in public. There's also the matter of rumor detox. A declaration like "we're not hiding" has a way of starving old narratives. When the center is clear, gossip has less to cling to. The storyline about strategic avoidance loses its plot. The theory that silence equals denial becomes obviously untrue, replaced by a simpler reading. Silence was a strategy for protection, not a trick. That reframing is healthy for everyone involved, artists, families, and the audience that wants to cheer without feeling like an accomplice to intrusion. If you're wondering how to support this new phase, the answer is refreshingly ordinary. Keep the focus on the work that brought you here. When Demet anchors a scene with surgical restraint, talk about that restraint. When Kenyaman finds new gears in a role you thought you understood, talk about those gears. When they show up together, offer kindness instead of demands. The relationship will keep its center if the conversation keeps its center of gravity on craft. That is not a scolding, it is a recipe for longevity, of careers, of joy, of the bond that started on a set and grew strong enough to face a world that loves to watch. It's also worth naming the quiet message embedded in this choice. When two people who have been under bright lights for years decide to stop hiding, they are not surrendering to the crowd. They are asserting authorship. They are saying, in effect, we will decide what visibility looks like, and we will decide when to close the door. If you've ever loved an on-screen couple and worried that the world would not let them be off-screen people, this is the best possible outcome, a path that honors both reality and restraint. So where does this go next? Likely not toward a daily feed of personal updates. More likely toward a cadence, weeks where nothing is said, followed by one image or appearance that feels intentional and generous. If big milestones come, expect brief captions and firm boundaries. If they don't, expect the same piece. The point is not to move quickly, it is to move correctly. That's how stories last. Now it's your turn. What scene first convinced you that Kenyaman and Demet could carry a reveal like this with grace? Do you prefer a single, beautifully composed photo and months of quiet, or occasional joint interviews that keep the conversation anchored in craft? And how should a community like ours show support without turning affection into entitlement? Share your thoughts in the comments. The best ideas from this audience have a way of echoing into rooms we'll never see. If this deep dive helped you understand the moment beneath the headline, subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, tap like, and consider joining for members-only analyses where we track how public narratives intersect with production schedules, press strategy, and the choices that let artists protect the parts of their lives that make the art possible. As the story evolves, we'll follow official updates, patiently, respectfully, and always with the same principle we ask from everyone else: dignity first. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.